Good morning, everyone. So, I decided to watch a Matthew Hussey video. And for anyone who knows me, I have a friend who had introduced me to Matthew Hussey a while back. And then Matthew Hussey started to date Camila Cabello, which really confused me because she was so young. And I thought, man, that's such a weird combination. And then obviously they just recently broke up, and she is rumored to be dating Shawn Mendes, or at least interested in him. And then you watch all these videos of Shawn and Camilla when they were younger, and just seeing the connection that they had, but they were best friends or things of that nature, and songs they've written, all that stuff. So with all that said, I thought, man, it's an interesting thing because some people looked at Matthew Hussey in a particular way before he started dating Camilla, and felt like he had all this credibility. And afterwards, people were like, I don't know what his credibility is now that he's dating her. And then now that they've broken up, it's like, oh, maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. Here's the reality of things, right? He shared, so I'm going to share a link of a conversation he had that I watched that was about a little less than an hour and a half. And in it, he showed so much humility, understanding that you can know what you're talking about, but it's another thing to live it. It is so difficult. Like, you can know the right thing to do, but it doesn't mean that you're going to end up doing the right thing when you're in that relationship. All your insecurities and all your thoughts and all these things that you know just go out the window sometimes when there's a person that you actually care about staring you right in your face. So, first and foremost, I applaud Matthew Hussey for the interview that he did there, because I can tell that he grew from his relationship with her, but also that he realized that, maybe it's just, certain things, but you still go in. He talked about there's 4 stages in a relationship. One is, the stage 1, he said, is admiration, that you really like certain qualities about a person. Stage 2 is the connection. You just have this amazing connection or chemistry with this person. But the stage 3 is commitment. Like, you make a commitment to a person. But then stage 4 is that reality of compatibility. And it's kind of an interesting thing that he didn't put compatibility before commitment. But I think the reason he didn't was because sometimes you don't even realize that you might not be as compatible as you thought until you get into a commitment. And yeah, okay, so for me as an outsider, when I looked at Matthew and Camilla start to date, like, for me, it didn't make sense. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, other people from the outside, they don't know what's going on inside. They have no idea. Like, I know their public personas. So who am I to judge that and know anything about that? But the crazy thing is that reality of how toxic social media is. Because here's all the fans of Camilla who want her to date Shawn or whatever, and they're treating Matthew Hussey in the worst ways possible, saying horrible things to him, or spreading rumors that he may have cheated on her, or things of this nature. And the reality is, like, I think that's another reason why it was like, why would you date somebody whose fan base is so young and typically don't understand the realities of what it means to be in a relationship? All they see is glitz and glamour and celebrity life. They don't see people as people sometimes. Now, I don't want Camilla fans to just go, who is this nobody saying things about us? I'm not saying this is true of all of her fan base, just the fan base that felt like they have a right as a stranger to go at it to another stranger. Who are we to not have some kindness and to understand that people, when they break up or when there's a relationship that ends, it doesn't help any to have a bunch of strangers tell you how to process, how to feel, or that you should have never been in that relationship in the first place. Don't get me wrong, we all have the right to the opinion, because I definitely have it. I definitely had that with Matthew. I was like, what are you doing getting into this relationship? Like, you're a dating coach. Shouldn't you see the red red flags from the get-go. Like, this is not going to work out. You guys have, like, I don't see the compatibility whatsoever. So yeah, I would be a hypocrite to say that I didn't think these things, but there's a difference between me thinking these things and actively messaging a man and trying to cut him down for all of these different things. The good thing about Matthew Hussey is he is full grown. So he understands the mistakes he made. He understands that he still has a lot to grow in. And there's a humility that he's coming at right now in regards to relationships. In this video, right, that he has, that I'm going to put the link in, is that reality that he's on the journey too. Here's the thing. If we're going to wait for someone who perfectly does everything the way that they should, just because they have the knowledge and all this stuff, does not mean that they're going to do it perfectly. They're a human being. It's funny because the guy that I think highly of, right? The one that he didn't work out with, his training, his kind of profession. I remember walking around with him at Green Lake, and I said to him, out of all the people, I thought that you would know not to, like, do this, like, that you would not pull away, or you would communicate. You wouldn't just, whatever I was feeling at that moment. And he said in all humility, like, I'm a human being. And even if I know, like, it doesn't mean that I'm going to do this perfectly all the time. There's no guarantee that I'm going to do this perfectly all the time. It's different when you're in a relationship. And folks, like, let's have a little grace for each other. Like, we're going to go in this road of, like, being in relationships with people. We are going to mess up because our insecurities are going to buffer with our heads. Because there's all this conversations we have of, like, I need to make sure that my core needs are being met, and I know how to verbalize that. But when am I saying things from a place of health, and when am I saying things from a place of insecurity? I'm doing this YouTube channel, right? And I don't know if people are going to find this channel. All I know is consistency is important. So I'm going to try to put a video up every single day. My learning is consistent. Like, I constantly want to learn. That is, like, always learning, always growing. That's my tagline. That has been my tagline since my grandfather had said it to my cousin. It is the marker of my life. Like, I want to always constantly be learning. And I don't have everything figured out. And you're going to find that out real soon. And what I share is going to be coming from a vulnerable place. It's going to be things that I'm going to own for myself, of things that I need to grow in. But folks, like, let's have some grace for people. There's reasons why things don't work out. And as much as you want to do the right thing and choose the right person, sometimes you make mistakes and you end up choosing the wrong person. Or maybe you chose the right person and there's just a whole lot of bumps along the road. There's a lot of channels on YouTube. And the best channels, the ones that have ended up gaining traction, having a lot of people watch their videos, one thing they will tell you is this: nobody is you. No one is you. That's why people eventually find your videos. That's why eventually people start listening to you. Because your insights, your thoughts, that's only for you. From you. From your own experiences, from your own reality, from your own journey. No one else has your journey but you. That's why if people resonate with you, people feel what you're talking about, they're going to start listening to you. So anyways, I'm going to put the link to the Matthew Hussey interview. I hope you give it a listen. I know it's an hour and a half, so you might decide, like, I'm not going to listen to that long of a podcast. But if you want to see a person who, after a recent breakup, like, has the courage to still go out there and talk and be vulnerable and be real, that's great. You know, he didn't talk about Camilla. He didn't talk about the breakup, but you could see the lessons he learned from it. You can see that he's processing it. You can see the humility there. And that's all you can hope for. I mean, you guys, how you deal with a breakup says a lot about who you are. Are you going to be a person that learns? Are you going to be a person that blames the other person and never look inside of yourself and go, what lessons is there for me? Because I can't change that person. I can't like I can't make that person want to try. You know, it's kind of an interesting thing for me, right? Cuz when when the person that I really, am interested in and care about, it said no, like that he had seen enough. Like, did that hurt a little bit? Absolutely. But who am I to tell him that no, you didn't? No, you could try more. You could give this more of a shot. You could choose to not give up so easily. Who am I to tell him that? He knows himself. Um, but how I choose to deal with it is I want to grow. You know, I want to be able to find someone that will want to work with me, who will want to say, okay, yeah, this has been some difficult stuff. Phoebe, you've said a bunch of things that makes me think that you don't want to be with me. I want to understand, do you mean that? Is this your defense mechanisms? Is this your fears talking? Like, let's flesh that out without him feeling like he's responsible for my own growth, because he's not. He's not responsible for my own growth. I'm responsible for my own growth. You're responsible for your own growth. But we sure do give each other space to grow. We give each other space to learn. He had said something like, he had seen, he's done it before, hope that somebody would change, and it never happened, And I'm glad that he made the decision to say, like, no, I'm not going to repeat the cycle. Here's the reality. I'm not the other person. I'm not the other people. I do change. I do grow. I do think that was a little bit in a space of fear for him. But it's a respectful place of where he was at. Who am I to tell him to give me a shot? To not let his fear rule. Because maybe that's not even the reason, right? Like, I mean, there's all these things that happens. There's things that we're thinking in our heads, and there's things that we communicate with our mouths. And sometimes we think we're being completely honest in the moment, and sometimes we aren't being as completely honest in the moment as we think we are. Because we haven't completely processed everything we're feeling and what is motivating the words that are coming out of our mouths. So anyways, to say the least, like, I'm just saying, giving each other grace in this whole process, and trusting that we are capable of growing and changing because we're alive, like, that's important. I mean, that's so important. I hope you guys do watch the Matthew Hussey video. Oh, also, if you have problems with language, there is language on there. So, fair warning, some people have a problem with that. So, just letting you know. But if you can get past some of the language, there's a lot of great, truth in it. So, or at least things to ponder, even if you don't agree with everything. Like, there's at least one thing that you can take away and grow as a person if you are willing to do so. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Hope to talk to you guys tomorrow.